Hello, hello, hello. Here we go. I am back. So, as the title says, write the vision, make it plain. And we're coming out of Habakkuk 2 and 3. And so, just to give you a little update, this is the actual first podcast of Faith in Motion. And so, I want to talk about that for a little bit as it pertains to Habakkuk 2 and 3. So Habakkuk 2 and 3 states, hmm, give me just one moment. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly on clay tablets so that the one who reads it will run. And again, that's Habakkuk 2 and 3 coming out of the Amplified Version. And with that being said, here I want to share a little bit what that looks like. And so, in order for the vision to be made plain, you first have to believe what it is that God is showing you. Whether it is by sight, you see the vision that He has cast before you, or whether it is hearing, or whether it's even a sense of smell. So if you take a look at how perfume was made, someone had to get that smell in them. Oh my goodness, what is that smell? Oh, it smells so good. And then they had to go forth and develop the product. So writing the vision down, making it plain, as you see here on a notebook, someone created this notebook as well. So in order for it to become plain to you and for you to actually believe it, sometimes you have to write it down on paper, or as the word says, write it down on tablets, right? So with that vision being written down, then how do you move about it? How do you activate it? What must you do to continue? Well, one, now it's written on the paper. I have to actually believe this thing that I'm writing so that the next part of the verse can actually happen. So the runner that reads it can go ahead and run it, to go ahead and go out and do the work with you, right? So someone had to get the vision from the Lord and then move forward in purpose. So for me, this faith in motion, this podcast, God gave it to me while I was at my girlfriend's house, just minding my business, thinking and asking him about my ministry and what it was that I was supposed to do in this season, right? In this next part of the year. So we are moving into the second quarter. And so with this second quarter, I said, well, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? How does that look like? What is it that I need to write out? So as I was writing, sitting there on her computer, just writing, then he gave me faith in motion, right? And then I looked over to her and I was like, oh, God gave me my next 3 months and what that's going to look like. And then as I began to write it down, and he began to show me different points that I needed to talk about, what he brought me to as well. While I was writing, he said, hey, this is a forever walk. This is a forever journey. So, but in order to believe this thing, you got to write it out on paper. So I'm a visual learner, right? I have to see it being done. So I can read it all day, but I physically have to see it being performed, being drawn out. If it's a picture, I have to see you drawing the picture out, coloring in with a crayon, whatever, part's supposed to be black or yellow, whatever the colors are, so that I can believe what it is that I'm seeing on paper. So even as I'm reading this to you, we had to make it plain, right? So the vision that God has given us, we have to make it plain. But remember, he only shows us in part. So we only know in part of what it is that we're supposed to do. So with this little piece, write it down on paper. All you need is that mustard seed of faith. So write it out, right? And as you read it, and as you begin to talk and ask God, what else am I supposed to do with this? He's going to begin to show you. And if he doesn't show you that very second, trust and believe that he's going to send somebody that will believe this vision that God gave you, will believe this task, will believe this purpose, and it's going to help you run with it. So my girlfriend, she holds me accountable, right? So she's like, okay, God gave you this. What's next? What's your next steps? What does that look like? What is it that you need to do? Right. And so I told her, oh, well, I got to, come on before the people and talk, and she said, so how you're going to do that? Like, we're writing it down literally. And as I was writing, he would give me the next steps and show me what it is, who to invite, who to ask. So this is what I'm telling you to do on this part, and how this vision is to be made plain to you. You got to write it out. So if he shows you it by picture, if you are a seer and you can see with your eyes, okay, so draw it. If you can't put it into words, draw what it is that you see. If he's showing you an architect, a building, draw it. Someone had to see the blueprint on how to build schools, right? So God gave them that vision of a school, what it is to look like. And then somebody had to come in place to draw it. If the person that he gave the vision to couldn't draw it, then that person had to write it out or to talk it out and tell them what it looks like. So remember, God shows up in all kind of ways for us, okay? And if you are a person that may not be able to hear him, then you can see him. But if you are a person that can't see, maybe he's going to give it to you by smell. God will use all five senses that you have in order for his word to come forth, right? So we were created for a purpose, and that was to bring the word forth. But we are created to be the answer, a solution to somebody, right? So be the solution. And how can you be the solution without making the vision plain, without making what he showed you plain, right? So that person can run with it that's coming behind you. See, my girlfriend is my pusher. So she's going to run it with me. And how she runs it is helping me do the next steps. What does it look like? What does it sound like? And believe it or not, it has a taste. So what does it taste like? Can you taste this thing? Can you believe what God is giving you? Can you run forth and do it, right? So what if you are the runner and someone comes up to you and like, oh, God gave me this thing. I want, I would like for you to partner with me. He asked me to for you to partner in. So let me tell you what it looks like, and I need you to run with me. What if you are the runner? What if you are the person that's supposed to run with a vision that God gave somebody else? Are you willing to do it? See, before that person can even tell you, they have to what? Believe it in their heart that God gave it to them. Believe that what they're seeing came from God. And if they don't believe it, go back. We can go back and ask him anything. He told us we can ask for wisdom. He give it to us freely, right? So why can't we go back and ask God the question about what's our next steps? What is it supposed to look like? Lord, okay, you said run. Okay, where am I running to? God, you told me to move. Where is it that I'm moving to? I'm going to go to the land, right, that you told me. But what does that land look like? God, I got some questions. And it's okay to ask some questions as it pertains to your next steps. But first, you got to believe in the heart that he told you to do that. So if you are his seer, you got to believe that what he showed you in the vision, you saw it. So now write it down. And if you can't draw, put the letters in there. Put the words down there. If all you see is words, put the words down there. Whatever it is, because he's going to make sure somebody comes behind it to pick it up and run the race with you. He's not going to leave you stranded. See, God is our support system. He's not going to leave us stranded. His word tells us he will never leave us nor forsake us. So he's going to give us the next steps, but he is waiting for us to take the leap of faith. Remember, faith without works is dead. So you have to take the leap, right? And I got this piece of paper in front of me. It has some words on here. Okay, God, so what is next? Do I go left? Do I go right? God, I need I may need some money. So he'll tell you where to go and ask the person for money if he doesn't already show you how to get the money in your hand. God is going to work that thing out for you and with you, but you just have to trust him in the process and what it looks like. Take the next step. So he showed you the vision. Now write it down. He gave you the word. Now write it out. He told you what the smell is because you can smell it in the ear. Now put that smell down on paper. It smells like roses. Okay. What do I need to do to get that smell to come to life? Oh, if are you the one to make perfume? Okay. So what's next? I got to get some tubes. I got to fill this thing. I got to create the scents. I might need a chemist. And then I may not. I may have some oils that I can put together that'll give out the still a sweet smell of rose scent, right? I might be able to do that on my own, or I may need somebody else. I may need some help. But whatever it is, you got to trust God in the process, and you got to take the first step so that he can show you. As I begin to talk it out with my girlfriend, he gave me more and more things. He gave me more and more things. Each step, it looked at like a next. Oh God. Okay. You want me to do this podcast? I gotta get before people and speak. Okay, Lord, I don't have the equipment, but that's okay. What I have right now, what am I talking to you on? This laptop. Somebody got a vision how to create this laptop, right? And they wrote it on paper. All the laptop is a smaller desktop computer that house information, right? In order for them to be able to could take that big thing, that big old desktop computer, and to create it into something that you can pick up and go, or your cell phone that we are attached to. That is a computer that is handheld in the palm of our hands. It's small enough where we can dial on it, actually speak to someone, and then it holds so much information where we can actually go on Google and search, or we can go on YouTube where we're at right now to do what is necessary. But it all started with a vision, or it all started with a word. It is a solution, right? Someone was the solution to a problem that needed to be solved. Technology is a solution to a problem that needed to be solved. God will give us the solution so we can be the solution for a problem that needs an answer. Or if it is just to minister and get his word out, then you are the solution. He's going to use your mouth, he's going to use your voice box to speak his word. You are the solution to the people that he's going to send to you, because everybody has a set amount of people that we are to speak to. That is our influence. That we go and be their influence. We can talk to them and tell them about God, but we can do it in the way that God has given it to us. So write it out, make it plain, and then allow for God to bring the hero. Allow for him to bring the person to run with it. Allow for him to bring the crayons if you need crayons to draw it out. Allow for him to bring whatever it is that you need, but you first have to believe that he gave it to you and know that your eyes are not playing tricks on you. You saw it, you heard it, he said it. You were thinking it because he gave it to you. We forget that our desires are not just, it didn't just pop in our head. God gave us those desires to fulfill a need that we need, right? But he is the ultimate solution because he's our creator. So he's going to show us how to take care of his children. So you run with that today. Write it out, make it plain. And I'll come back to you again this coming Friday. Be blessed and have a beautiful day. Bye.